Thanks for joining us for this episode of the American Academy of Optometry Foundation Clinical Podcast Series. I am joined by the brilliant Pablo de Gracia. It is awesome to have you here, Pablo. How are you today, my man?
Well, I'm doing well. I
Yeah.
currently live in Detroit area, so we are starting spring, and we appreciate a lot to have a sunny day. So it's a great day
Yes.
today.
Awesome, man. Hey, tell us a little bit about yourself, your area of expertise, your area of interest, and just give everybody a picture of who you are.
So I have been working for the last 15 years in vision sciences. I got my PhD at the National Council for Research on Spain, that is the equivalent to the NIH in the US. For the last 10 years, I've been living in the US and working here. First, it was at the Barrow Neurological Institute for 3 years in Phoenix. Then I was an assistant professor for 6 years at Midwestern University. And for the last almost 2 years now, I've been the director of research and associate professor at the University of Detroit Mercy in Detroit.
That's awesome. Man, we're talking about Fourier tools for the evaluation of refractive multifocal designs. Buddy, this is a tough one for me, and it's so important. This stuff really shapes how I see my patients every single day, particularly in multifocal and myopia, all of this. It's so important. But I think for most of us, we see this topic and might jolt the other way, thanking the Lord that people like you exist. I'm hopeful that today you can talk us through this paper that you wrote. Such an incredible piece. Why is this topic important for optometrists, and why do you think that we need to have a better understanding of this?
So the paper that we are speaking today about, that is Fourier tools for the evaluation of refractive multifocal designs, basically creates the first method to be able to simulate the optics of multifocal contact lenses with Zernike polynomials. So why is this important? Basically, Zernike polynomials, everybody in school has learned about them, probably learned to hate them, but anyway, they are a very useful mathematical tool because the second order of these Zernike polynomials represent perfectly myopia, hyperopia, and astigmatism. And then with the third and the fourth order and the fifth order, you can actually represent things like spherical aberration or coma. Spherical aberration will occur anytime that a surface it deviates from a perfect sphere, and you can see higher levels of coma in people with different diseases like keratoconus or keratoglobus. You can also have elevated levels of coma if an intraocular lens is tilted inside the eye. So Zernike polynomials are great to kind of define the optical quality of an eye, but they have the problem that they do not have the proper ingredients to represent the optical quality of multifocal contact lenses. Because what happens with multifocal contact lenses is that the power that is contained within the lens changes radially, in some cases very rapidly, and Zernike polynomials cannot represent these changes. So the paper that we are speaking about today basically has developed a way of working around it by dividing the pupil in different areas and representing one single level of the focus for each of those areas, and then cropping the area that you need from each of those wavefronts. And once you have the family with all the different areas for the pupil of the subject, you can put them together and represent the multifocal properties of a contact lens.
So you're segmenting the pupil into different areas in order to evaluate the different amounts of Zernike polynomials for the eye. And is it correct that you did this for a host of different contact lenses, right?
So yes. So basically, by being able to evaluate multifocal contact lenses with Zernike polynomials, we can leverage all the research that has been done during the last 30 years in the optical quality of the eye that has used also these Zernike polynomials.
Yeah.
So that is the key question to it. So
and you did a host of different contact lenses. You did a couple of different powers. What did you all do?
So basically, in this paper, to show the potential uses of the method, we have evaluated 12 different multifocal contact lenses that come from 4 different manufacturers. And basically, a way to classify them is that these lenses belong to one of 3 groups. Either they are for early presbyopes, or for people that are around 50 years of age, or for full presbyopes that don't have any accommodation left. So basically, the lenses that are evaluated on the study are the ultra low, the Air Optics Aqua low, the Oasis low, and the Biofinity lenses plus 1.5N and plus 1N, and all of those are for early presbyopes. Mm-hmm. Then we have the second group, that is middle-aged presbyopes, for which we have the Air Optics Aqua medium, Oasis medium, and the Biofinity lens plus 2N. And then we have for full presbyopes, the ultra high, the Optics Aqua high, the Oasis high, and the Biofinity lens plus 2.5N. And all of those lenses have been evaluated in 3 different levels of refractive error, for -6, -3, and +1, because we wanted to see if having a different prescription power will actually alter the multifocal profile of the lens. We saw that it does not.
Yeah, I'm looking at these graphs that you have here in your paper, which are just fascinating to look at. And what I'm a little bit stunned by is that the graphical representation doesn't always stay the same as it goes from a low to a medium to high across different lenses. And it's different from lens to lens, which, Pablo, it has to be pupil dependent in some ways, doesn't it?
It is pupil dependent. So what it is occurring with these multifocal contact lenses is that the same way that you introduce adhesion in the lower part of a progressive lens when you are wearing glasses, this adhesion is included as you move from the center of the lens to the periphery. Each company does it in a different way. You will find lenses that will have the adhesion on the center of the pupil. You will find other lenses that will have it on the periphery. You will have lenses that do like a seesaw pattern, and you find areas with adhesion and areas with lack of adhesion and areas with adhesion again. And you have other lenses that, for example, the ones from Alcon or Bausch & Lomb, in which the progression of the power is very continuous. Mm-hmm. So each manufacturer introduces the power in a different way. And depending on the pupil size that you have, you will be actually using different parts of the lens. Depending on which adhesion power has been placed on the center, the performance of those lenses could be very different.
So talk to me about, a peak performance of a lens and how, we get that. And how can clinicians use this data to get peak performance for their patients?
Okay. So as I said before, we have these 3 different groups of lenses. We have multifocal lenses that are designed for young patients, multifocal lenses that are designed for old patients, and then we have the group in the middle. So what happens for all of those lenses, regarding on how the adhesion was added into the lens, is that if you have a lens that is designed for a young presbyope, it's going to have a higher peak performance. And with that, I mean that the visual acuity that patient can potentially obtain with that particular design is going to be higher than with designs that are designed for middle-aged presbyopes or full presbyopes. And the reason why that is possible is because early presbyopes still have some residual accommodation. And they use this accommodation that they still have to move that peak performance to whatever working distance they have an interest for at that moment. Meanwhile, if you are a full presbyope, you do not have any left residual accommodation. Therefore, you need to have a design that has a lower peak performance. So the maximum visual acuity that you can achieve with that design is lower, but you have a wider range of divergences, a wider range of working distances for which the lens will give you a proper visual acuity. If not the best, it will still be acceptable.
Yeah. I think this is the first time I've seen this method of converting sagittal power into corresponding, multifocal wavelength sort of thing that has ever been done. Had you ever seen anything like this? I think this is the first time.
And yes, this is the first time in which we can effectively go from a sagittal power to the corresponding optical quality metric.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I think that this, not only is striking in and of itself, but it opens the door to a lot of other insights that, we need to be searching into. My hope is that with this type of data, we're then be able to better customize and custom tailor our lenses for our patients, their ages, their amount of presbyopia, and their prescription, right? I mean, this is really starting to open the door to gaining a better success with the multifocals that are on the market. And one brand of lens might work for one group of patients and another for another type of patients. Very fascinating. I know we could talk about this paper for another hour, but what haven't we touched on that you would like to have for some closing comments?
Well, so as you said, this method has been used to evaluate commercial designs that are already available for patients, but it can as well be used for developing new and better designs.
Sure.
It has been used for evaluating the optical properties of multifocal designs for presbyopia, but there is a very big field right now that is myopia control, from which we don't know much about, on how these lenses are actually providing a stimulus to prevent myopia development. And all these tools that we have presented on the paper can be applied to multifocal contact lenses that are used for myopia control in order to understand them better and to be able to give a fuller explanation on how they control the development of refractive error.
Oh man, that's exciting. That's incredible. When we can, design vision and shift and affect patients, not only how they're seeing, but also how the development in myopia management, that is awesome. Pablo, what an incredible topic. Thank you for this paper. I mean, this was a work, man. You put this together. Go and check out this paper. It is an incredible work of art, a work of science. Obviously, a lot of insight went into this. Thank you for sharing it with us, Pablo.
Thank you, Dave, for giving me the opportunity to share the knowledge with the larger community of the American Academy of Optometry Foundation. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for joining us for the American Academy of Optometry Foundation's clinical podcast series. We are so excited that you joined us for this episode. Make sure to stay tuned and check out our prior episodes for incredible insights from the American Academy of Optometry's Foundation. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.